Welcome back, everybody, to the Renaissance Humanism podcast. Today's episodes, I will be discussing the Ukraine war and Russian military equipment and its nuclear weapons, its nuclear arsenal. Okay. Putin and Kim Jong-un finally had their little group therapy session at Cosmodroma. It's Cosmodrome out in the far east of Russia. The size messaging and both sides are massaging and soothing their gigantic egos, contemplating who is the most authoritarian, and it appears the main discussion has been focused upon North Korea providing military assistance to Russians primarily in the form of artillery shells. The Russian war against Ukraine won't be letting up anytime soon, with the war for the Russian Federation also being a war for its very survival and geopolitical security. Ukraine is not the endpoint of Russia's goal, merely the first stepping stone in securing invasion routes into Russia. With the Ukraine war dragging on into the second year, Russians need to replace their dwindling stocks of artillery shells. With the only options being China and North Korea, Russia has very limited options. From this deal with Russia, North Korea may be getting long-range missile tech to help speed up North Korean nuclear weapons programs. The development of intercontinental ballistic missiles should also be very concerning for the Chinese Communist Party and other nations in the region. It's a gigantic mistake to believe the Chinese and North Koreans are friends, with the Koreans under leadership of Kim Jong-un, who relatively called the Chinese bastards, due to China's imperial attitude with Xi Jinping regarding North Korea regime. Given the deal, regional and global security implications, countries like South Korea, China, Japan, and the USA should be worried. Sure, there are sanctions in place, but in reality, those are minor deterrents and won't stop North Korea. Now, towards the end of the Soviet period, arms control treaties with the USA peaked under Gorbachev, but each US president has handled these differently. The treaties fell under Clinton due to him sleeping with interns and had to deal with threats of impeachment from Congress and the Republican Party, which meant his presidency focused on was more on internal issues. By internal matters, I mean keeping his clock in his pants. The US presidency is very much like the eye of Sauron. They can only focus on one issue at a time. The resurgence under George W. Bush since fallen off today. The post-Cold War arms treaties have all but vanished, at least in practice, as far as the geopolitical analyst Peter Zine has stated. Without these treaties, several concerns arise. Can Russia maintain its nuclear arsenal? What happens if things go nuclear? Or what if they launch those nuclear weapons and they fail to launch? There are too many moral strategic dilemmas, but we should probably have some roadmaps to guide us through these scenarios. Unfortunately, policymakers still need to establish procedures for specific situations like a failed nuclear strike attempt, which is quite a conundrum. Because if Russia fires its nuclear weapons at Ukraine or other targets, the nuclear arsenal fire doesn't work, then the question is what is to be done with Russia? What can be done? Russian technical education fell apart in the 1980s, and since they have been relying on foreign companies, foreign workers to keep their industrial capacity and entire technical infrastructure working. Since the Ukraine war began in 2014 to the current present day, as of this recording, on the 19th of the 9th, 2023, those companies have with Russia. Thanks for listening to this recording. I hope you find this podcast useful. If you have any questions, please message me on my Substack, Medium, or in the comment section. Thank you for your time, and peace out.